day's just another day. I pray soon as I woke. Never thought I'd be the victim of a paralyzing stroke. On that day, just another day. I pray soon as I woke. Never thought I'd be the victim of a paralyzing stroke. Could be you. It happened to me. Never thought it could happen to me. On that day, just another day. I pray soon as I woke. Never thought I'd be the victim of a paralyzing stroke. On that day, just another day. I pray soon as I woke. Never thought I'd be the victim of a paralyzing stroke.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing today? It's another episode of You're Too Young to Have a Stroke. And as usual, I have my partner in crime. Where is my friend, Christina Perez? Where are you, sweetheart?
Hey!
How you doing, sister?
I'm well. How are you? Good evening. I hope you're being safe up there in New York.
It is dangerous out here. I can't even breathe. This thing got me, my sinuses all jacked up. I have some type of phlegm in my throat. Everything is going bananas up here with this Canada smoke. I don't like it at all.
Sorry to hear that. I hope everyone's being safe.
Yeah, they tell us that we can't go outside. You shouldn't turn on your air conditioner. It's really bad. It's like 10 million acres of grass that's been destroyed by these wildfires in Canada.
Wild.
Yeah, it is wild. But let's get back to our topic at hand. You know, we are two young stroke survivors. We both had an AVM in our cerebellum, and we both have shunts. We have hydrocephalus. Right?
Ooh,
look at me. I'm learning something. We both have hydrocephalus. So we have a shunt that comes from our head that drains into our stomachs. And that's because we had what's called water on the brain. It wouldn't transfer over. So Christina and I came together and said, you know what? It's time for us to start explaining as young stroke survivors how life is as a stroke survivor. You know, we try to communicate with other people. You know, usually stroke survivors are 65 and older. So how are these people that's younger than that? Like you said, you was in your 30s, I was in my 40s, I had my stroke. How do we actually deal with that? And one of the major things that, you know, we came up with was that Christina and I was talking about, you know, dealing with us as trying to find a mate. You know, if we was already married already and we had our stroke, you know, we had our mate already. But what happens if you had a stroke and you don't have someone? What do you do then? I think you have a surprise for us, don't you?
I do.
You do?
I do. Surprise. Happy Pride Month. My beautiful partner, Dee, who will be joining us today.
Hello, everyone.
Find out what was she thinking dating a stroke survivor.
Yeah,
hello, everyone.
The lock comes with that, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Like, I'm curious, too, because I am so happy that you're on because we explain things from a stroke survivor point of view, but dealing with a stroke survivor and you didn't have a stroke, dating us is probably, you know, first of all, kudos to you that you can actually tolerate us. But the other thing is, like,
it's not too bad.
What type of mindset do you have to have? So that's what I'm trying to figure out today. So the first thing I want to ask you, Dee, is how is this relationship different than the different relationships you had in your past with people that didn't have a stroke? What do you have to prepare for?
Let me see. Definitely. It was a little different. I believe upon finding out that she was a stroke survivor, I felt like a huge responsibility. It was definitely different. It didn't feel casual for too long, especially in the dating stage. You're trying to feel each other out. I definitely had strong feelings from her right in the beginning. And so after finding that out, I really took, I feel like I took kind of a responsibility, you know. I felt like there was, her health was involved. I've never thought about somebody else's, you know, health before so early on. The things that I wanted to do, kind of how I wanted to be her rock, you know, I wanted to not cause her any stress. Just it really came with a lot of responsibility I felt. That was different from a normal relationship where it was kind of just more casual and just kind of having fun. I felt like I really had to see from her lens and kind of release my bias and really kind of tune in, be a little bit more mature in this relationship.
Christina, I have so much questions to ask D, and I just don't know how to actually contain myself. Do you have anything that you want to go to before I start just drilling D? No, no pun intended.
Watch yourself, brother.
I'm sorry. I said no pun intended. Didn't I say that?
I'm taken.
I may wear the lipstick, but I'm the aggressor.
I know you might hurt me. I don't want to be hurt.
So
I don't want to be
anyway,
hurt. I don't want to be hurt, Christina. I don't want to be hurt.
Watch out
with
for.
hearing that, I feel like, again, I want to ensure that we are bringing light, that there is a stigma with someone who's had a stroke. And more so, I feel, when you think of someone who's so young, you think about, wow, sometimes older people have strokes and they've already kind of lived their life. They, may have a wife or have children already, things of that sort. When you're young and you have a stroke, and like myself, I do not have children. I was single, and putting yourself out there, what does a person who does not have a stroke look for? You hear you hear that someone has a stroke. When you think of stroke, what do you think about? Do you think about a disability? Do you think maybe that person's lifespan is shortened? What are some of the things that someone who has not had a stroke
Before you answer, D, ladies, any ladies that want to date Greg, make sure you listen to this response. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, I was thinking, I just really want to make sure that I was there for you, that I know myself so I could be there in your lens to take care of you. That's kind of was important for me. I don't know. I wanted to learn more about it, of course. I didn't know much about a stroke, but I was thinking if there's any way that, I don't know, that your health may be deteriorating or your immune system, or, these are things that I wanted to think about. I wanted to learn more about it so I could be here for you. So it was very helpful that you told me a lot in the beginning as well, that you were kind of breaking things down. Even though I didn't know a lot of the vocab that you were throwing around there, it was something that I wanted to go look up and study so I can kind of know what was going on off top. It was very important for me to understand what happened. I definitely know that I didn't know kind of what a stroke was. I just knew it's something that happened to people. I didn't know that you even had, brain injury afterwards. I thought maybe you recovered from it and then, that was in the past. So just learning all the things that you taught me, all the things that I learned about, that definitely helps.
So you're saying, because again, we're speaking to the audience of things for them to really keep in mind. You're saying that as the stroke survivor, informing a potential companion on, and probably break it down a lot better than I did. I was trying to impress you, so I was using the word. But breaking these
Perfect.
things down and explaining if someone does not know and giving that extra detail made you
Yeah,
feel safer
definitely.
or more
Definitely.
aware in the
More
next.
aware. And
Okay.
something that I could kind of catch on to a word and go look it up in Google or something like that. I remember trying to like study it a little bit and just be kind of like just be more in the know, especially in your situation in particular, know exactly kind of what you came from and what you went through, and how I can be of aid for us moving on. That was very important for me. I definitely appreciated that.
Okay, I love the answer, and everybody that's out there, I hope you guys are listening, because that's what we're looking for as stroke survivors. But I'm gonna try to flip it a little bit, because I look at social media, and first of all, everybody that's on here, if you are interested in more of our shows, check us out on YouTube at you're too young to have a stroke. And also our Facebook group is the same title, as you can see as at the bottom of the screen. Make sure that you subscribe and like the videos. Please, please, please. This helps us out to actually get this out to more people. But like I was saying, D, as for me, I know you wouldn't date me, but I'm just saying, as a man, I'm going out there in the dating world and I'm trying to find a potential partner. And as women that I'm trying to date, they say, well, you're a man and you don't have this, you don't have that, and I have to take care of you. You know, how did that look like when you found out that Christina was a stroke survivor? I know at first you found her attractive, you wanted to get with her, then you found out all these other things afterwards. You know, would you rather her actually told you that up front so you could have prepared yourself? Or when you got in, you was like, okay, that's just another layer, I'm good, I could go with it.
Yeah, you know, I was immediately attracted to her, and upon learning more about her, I had already developed like a great sense of caring, of love for this person, just for this human being in general.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I'm definitely willing to take on whatever she was able to give me, whatever she was able to talk about her past or things like that, because I was really focused on building a future with this person. After finding out, after she told me, she was a stroke survivor and things like that, I was there for the ride. I was down for that. I mean, she's a very strong woman. I felt like I did feel that sense of responsibility that I had to take, but I wanted to be on this journey more so with her. So that was important for me. It was my intentions were to love her unconditionally. And so this was just another layer to her, to this beautiful human, and things that we can definitely express ourselves about, what she needed from me, things that I needed to learn more about her. And it was fine. I was just on this journey with her, and let's just see where it goes. That's kind of how I felt.
I
Well,
like that. Okay.
you just brought up a great question that I would, again, speaking to our audience, you said what I would need from you. What are things that you feel a stroke survivor would need from a companion who has not had a stroke?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I know.
I think,
Not as much.
right, right, right. This is what I have to deal with. No, I'm thinking an open mind. I'm saying kind of like releasing my bias, whatever I thought um, being a stroke survivor was. I kind of had to drop that and open my mind up to her particular situation. Patience might not always know what you're going through or why maybe you reacted a certain way. So it's crucial that I have patience, that I understand. Maybe, you're dealing with a little brain trauma right now, or maybe you need some space right now. You're being overwhelmed. Maybe just like very, very much so open mind. I felt like that definitely helped me out. As you spoke to me and communicated what you needed, it was easy for me to tend to your needs because I wasn't having a bias, or this should go like this, or this should go like that. I was just here for the journey, here for you. And so patience was what I needed, definitely. Just an understanding, we're all different. And then we have to deal with each other a certain type of way to decrease stress. That's I wanted a peaceful environment. I wanted to not have that for you, most importantly. If you're maybe being short for a while, maybe you just needed some space, maybe you had a long day at work, things like that, not to just come at it to be too combative. That's where the patience comes in at.
So you're saying, as far as you, again, being the non-stroke survivor and dating a stroke survivor, speaking to the audience, if you are a single person and you may be interested in somebody who is a stroke survivor, be prepared to have patience. Be
Yes.
prepared to have some rough days. Be prepared for someone telling you to leave me alone. I need to go into the room by myself and I just need a moment out of nowhere. and being able to actually take that and possibly not take it personally.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. One of the things I remember in the beginning was, it's kind of funny to think about now, is I would ask you a question and you would like not answer me for such a long time. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, you know what? I would always ask, I'd be like, I asked you a question, like, come on, what's going on? Now seeing it, looking back on that, it's hilarious now. But that's
Greg.
one of those things where I would have to be patient and say, hey, she's registering what I said right now, and she's going to get back to me a little bit later. So
Yes.
definitely.
Greg, I would like to incorporate your thoughts with that. Um, and again, speaking to the audience, with having aphasia and really being able to gather your thoughts and gather your words. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily need to be in a heated moment. It could be a question about your emotions, what you want to eat. Do you
Mhm.
find yourself not being able to respond so quickly, where whether it be a caregiver or anyone that you're having a conversation with, feel as though you're ignoring them,
Great
or that
question.
you're just disregarding them?
Great question. But before I answer that, guys, you guys in the audience, you guys want to access any questions for D, Christina, for myself, feel free to put it inside of the comments and we will air them live and we will discuss them. Christina, that's a great question for me.
I know.
Okay, not as much. I have problems processing things, so it takes me a long time to process things, and then I get into arguments with people because they don't understand, because it's hard for me to articulate my concerns, my issues, and that comes into a problem with me. I am very jaded when it comes to dating, because I dated a lot of people after my stroke, after my divorce, that didn't understand exactly what D is saying. I would say things and they would, okay, I understand, I do it, and they don't understand. So like D would say, having compassion, having patience, they would claim that they did, but they didn't. So for me, I stopped. I stopped trying, and then I just let go. And then when I started letting go, that's when people that I dated or dated started becoming more of what fits in line with me. If
Mhm.
that makes sense to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. I know Dee was, bringing great points, which I hope, again, one of the things for me is I really want to shed light on the stigma of dating someone who has had a stroke. Um, One of the situations I could recall early on, with us dating, I had and Greg's actually involved in this story.
Well,
Yes, you are.
okay.
I had just really broken down to D. We had a regular dating conversation, but I had just recently broken down, detail as far as everything I had went through, the process. I
Mhm.
showed her the pictures. I had her feel my shunt. I had her feel my tube. I showed her, the before and after pictures that we actually have in our intro.
Yeah.
We had, I believe we made plans, something along the lines, and for whatever reason, I did not answer my phone.
Oh yeah.
And now, normally, right, dating, if you're normal, if somebody doesn't answer, you think what? They stood you up, right? And you're like, screw them. Whatever, you stood me up. On to the next one, right? She knocked on my door, my apartment door, and I'm only 4'11", so I cannot see out my peephole.
Well, I thought you 6'3".
Let me break this down for you. I'm 4'11", but my personality is 6'5".
It
Okay,
is.
But
6'5".
anyway,
6'5", my bad.
it's 6'5". So at that time, I can see now, hello. But I just hear a knock on the door, but nobody's saying anything. My service dog, my German Shepherd, her and I are ready. We're like thinking somebody's, trying to break in, something's going on. And all of a sudden I look over to my window and I see a body, a figure in my window. And I'm like, what the hell? So listen, my German Shepherd and I were ready. I'm licensed, but I had to get ready. I didn't know what was going on and nothing. Now, granted, the phone is ringing in the bedroom, but I'm so amped up, like, what's going on at the time? I'm single and by myself, even though, I'm very well protected. I go to my room and I see that she's calling me and I'm like, was that you? And she's like, I just wanted to check to see if you were okay. And I'm like, so you looked through my window and you knocked on my door? Granted, this is like, this was probably 2 weeks after we had started like talking. And I think we went on maybe 1 or 2 dates by this time. And then she had come over, so she knew where I lived. And I was so creeped out. Greg, I called you, remember? And I said, Greg, it's over. I'm done. She's weird. She's creeping in my windows. I'm like, she's creeping in I didn't answer my phone, so she rolls up to my house. If anyone knows me, I am very private. Don't roll up on me. Don't come unannounced. I'm more so even now, and Greg, what did you tell me?
I basically asked you, does she know that you're a stroke survivor? And you're like, yeah. So these are the things that we have to remember, that you just gave her this information about being a stroke survivor. And now she's trying to figure out, did she just have another stroke? Is she laying on the floor? Do I need to bust this window open to get to her? I understood where D was coming from, because she doesn't have this experience. And she's looking at you like, oh, I like this woman, but it's more than just liking her as I want her to be my woman. It's, I like her as a human being and I don't want her to die. Yes. So once I put that perspective to you, you was like, oh, that does make sense. I understand where she's coming from. I don't know. She could have been a stalker. I don't know. But what I heard is that wasn't necessarily a stalker. It's just, this is the life that we have to live now, because we have fallen from a very bad condition and people are concerned about us.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's how I felt. I definitely knew that the information was fresh. So I even remember kind of thinking about, like, when you would drive places, like thinking about, like, I hope she's safe, I hope she's being okay, and trying like not to call you so much. But definitely on that instance, when I didn't get any response back from you or any text or anything like that, I only live down the street. So I'm like, let me just pop over a little bit. And, I did feel a little weird as I was standing outside of your window looking in. I was like, yeah, this is creepy. Let me get out of here. Yeah. I was like, I'm doing too much. I was hoping to maybe just see some action, maybe see you, doing something.
Action.
Something happening inside the house, like the dog, running around, or you just watching TV or something, But I'm thinking, yeah, this is weird. Let me get out of here, And so that was just my first experience. I was just going off of, I didn't think it through. I was impulsive. And I was like, oh my goodness, I need to see that she's okay. So that's why I popped up, and not getting an initial response when I knocked on the door, and then being like, ooh, I'm kind of jumped out there a little bit, I had to kind of draw it back, and I'm happy that you understood. I'm happy that you talked to Greg, actually, because
I didn't get the check in the mail. I did not get my check in the mail.
I got you.
Well, I was ready to snip. I said, Greg, it's over. This girl's in my window. She's in my window, Greg. I don't do that.
I didn't get the check still. I don't know. I can't hear anything right now until I get the money started. Yeah, that's all I can hear.
We'll discuss invoice later. We'll discuss the invoice later.
I wanted to share that story again for the audience, again for stroke survivors, and again for people who may be interested in somebody who's had a stroke. We really, on the stroke survivor end, we have to really also have patience and sensitivity to the other person. You drop a bomb on people and give them all that information. And if someone's possibly not in the healthcare, and I think anyone in the healthcare field, because once you get emotions involved, you care about the other person.
Yep.
For me, in that very particular moment, I was saying I was very angry. I felt that she was invading my privacy. I felt like she was moving into my space, and I also felt like she was questioning my independence, all in one. All for just because I'd answer my phone, you automatically think something, medically happened to me, but you have to then take a step back. And if it wasn't for Greg, I wouldn't have, and think like, I just told this person all this information. Of course, that's exactly what they're going to think. They're still trying to process it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Dee.
Oh, we got a question for her.
Do you think, as a non-stroke survivor, do you think there's a time frame where a stroke survivor should be as open and give all that information to the person that they could possibly date?
Right. Let me see. I wouldn't say anything like a time frame, like a week or 2 weeks or something like that. But I think it would kind of go off of your feeling, your intuition. Can you trust this person with that information? Um, do you feel that it's the right timing to do that? What's the flow of how you guys are going? It could be a slow, casual kind of relationship. Maybe you guys are just getting to know each other. So maybe there's just like levels to it. I just think that for me, I know you didn't tell me right off the bat, but I think it was a perfect timing when we were having, intense conversations about other aspects of your life. Then this is something that's important as well that can be added on into that. So once you guys start having those deeper conversations, I think that's when it's the time. If it's still surface, and you guys are getting to that level, I think it's just important to feel it out. I don't think there's like a time frame per se. Um, I just think it's going to be about that feeling, your intuition. How do you feel about this person, and if they're ready for that?
Greg, I know you
Yeah.
mentioned that after your divorce that you dated and that you are kind of jaded with dating. The smirk.
I'm waiting for the question.
No, it's coming. It's coming.
Okay, bring it.
How do you feel about that? And how did you deal with that as far as?
Like I said, at first I was very jaded because I was dating people that was similar to what I was used to before I had my stroke, and I had to realize I wasn't that same person anymore. So I had to stop dating and let it come to me. But one thing I really was adamant about was being a different person than I was before. People will say that I try to manipulate situation or I'm narcissistic. I'm like, okay, maybe I am. I don't know. I haven't been diagnosed. But I was very, very conscious about letting a person know up front what they're getting themselves into. So they don't have to fall in love with me. And then afterwards, I tell them, you know what? Boom. I'm a stroke survivor. And now they have to deal with that. It's like, for me, my thought process was like, I'm falling in love with you, I'm dating you, then I say I have AIDS. Huh? What that person gonna do now? They have to deal with me. I have to be upfront of everything that's going on with me in order for that person to feel comfortable to actually open up. That's what my thought process was, and that works for me because I don't want anybody to feel obligated towards me because of I didn't give them every information they needed to have. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So you're stating that by doing so could possibly eliminate someone taking advantage of you? Is that what you're saying?
Does it make it obligated for them to take advantage of me? I don't understand the question.
That you said that you put it out there so people don't feel obligated to you
You're obligated to take care of me.
to take care of you. Oh, okay. All right. Um, that's a good, well, D, with that,
Yeah.
what would you tell the audience as far as dating someone with a stroke? Do you ever feel that you would be in a position to take advantage of somebody with a brain injury? For instance, with some of the things that stroke survivors deal with, short-term memory loss. My particular situation, and other stroke survivors, being blind on one side, sneaking up. You feel that you're ever in a position where your integrity
It's challenged.
is challenged? Thank you.
Um,
Right?
yeah.
Good job.
I really feel that it's important to know yourself first, and know your intentions. And so I think it would be hard to kind of get into that mode of I may be taking advantage of her or things like that because my intentions are pure. So if you happen to forget something, that's not me taking advantage of you. That's just us working this out together. It's like, I just think it's important that you understand what's going on and you are there for the journey and that your heart is pure, that you're kind of in a more mature level in your life, not that you're still finding yourself out because dealing with someone who is in stroke recovery, you're going to have to pour yourself into them. You're going to have to kind of be there for them. So you need to already have yourself hashed out, So knowing your intentions and just sticking to your code if you have a pure heart, then I don't think that that can even arise. I mean, definitely with you, Christina, you are a strong-minded individual. It'll be very hard to take advantage of you. But myself, I know who I am. I know what my intentions are with you. I know this is something serious that I want to get into. So just make sure that you know that you're not going to be playing games with this person.
So you're looking for something serious.
You're looking
I
for
mean,
something
that's
serious.
even, right, with people who don't have strokes.
Yeah.
Greg,
Yeah, I have a question. I have a question.
that's why I said Greg.
I have a question for actually both of you. Something you said earlier, Christina. You said that when you gave us that story about when D was coming to your window, um, I don't know if it's necessarily a question. It might be a statement, but that is something that is pretty interesting that you said, that you was a single person and you had a stroke. So the first thing that we're thinking about is getting our independence. We want to be independent, and we don't know how to let other people in.
Hmm.
I think that's the hardest thing for us as stroke survivors. We fight for our independence, we fight to walk, we fight to get over our disabilities, and we get there and like, I don't need anybody else. You should have been doing this because I already set up a protocol for myself. And then someone comes in that wants to help us out. We kind of leery of that. So my question now that I'm actually going to ask you, D, is, with that being said, and we're going through this, and you're observing this, um, how does a person still engage with a person like us, knowing that we're trying to get to that level of independence, and we might be kind of leery of anybody coming into our inner circle? How do
Yeah.
you tell somebody, okay, if you do like a stroke survivor, this is what you should be doing?
Yeah. Um, I feel like there's definitely going to be that anxiety. I feel I had a level of anxiety with dating a stroke survivor, even when she would go to the store or something like that. And I'd be, thinking, oh, she's been gone quite a long time.
Right.
I wonder if everything's okay. I used to definitely call, hey, is everything okay? Or, text, hey, let me know if you want me to come get the groceries when you get back, trying to appease myself. I'm the one who's having the anxiety. So I'm trying to like appease myself by reaching out to her. And then realizing that, as time went on, realizing she wants her independence. She doesn't want someone to be checking up on her every time. I can hear it in her voice, and she knows what I'm doing. Um, I had to kind of, if I want to send that text, just hold out for a little bit, just wait 5 more minutes, let my anxiety release a little bit before I'm passing that on to her. Um, that's where more of the patience came in as well. It's just be patient with myself, not trying to overdo it. She's gaining her independence. She had her independence already, but I was the one who was kind of being anxious. So I had to check myself and kind of bring it down a little bit, breathe, check myself and I'm still going to call you if I get a little worried, but I'm not going to do it so often. I'm going to release the stress and not put it onto you.
You're saying very something that's very interesting to me. Very interesting to me about, you have anxieties, you don't want to put it off to us. And that is very interesting because we feel that. We feel it quickly, really fast. Like, oh, something's going on with you. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on, but it's something there. But you need to handle it. And
Yeah.
that's for a man, it's very difficult. If I'm dating a woman, I am dating women, but when I date a woman, it's very difficult. Yeah, I know.
You
It's
have to
very
make that
difficult.
clear.
I'm trying to get my thoughts together. It's very difficult for me to see my woman hurt and I can't do anything about it,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's because of me, and the reason why, because I can't think properly. I can't change myself. I can't do these certain things I used to do before. And now I see my woman crying at night because I'm not the same person. Now, if you bringing that to me, that's going to destroy me. So
Mhm.
for you as a person that's dating a stroke survivor and you see these things and you can't bring that energy, you can't bring that emotion to your loved one slash patient, um, what do you suggest as a person in your position should do to calm themselves down or try to get help in some type of way? What do you suggest?
I think it would be just those natural ways that you kind of suppress your anxieties. Think long term. There's a lot of thoughts going through your head, just kind of take a deep breath and step back a little bit. I think it was important for me to understand that she is already independent. She was independent before I came into her life. She was already doing her own thing. And so my added anxiety, that has to do with me. So I have to like check myself. So I think that was important. Breathing and kind of like just holding my tongue a little bit. When she comes in the door, I don't need to say, "Oh, I was so worried about you," or something like that. Like, be relieved and carry on. I think it's important that I just relieve my stress on my own and just regular things that I do. I mean, we all get anxious. So, breathing exercises, putting activities in place. I would start to clean, so I'm not just sitting there thinking about things. Just being patient. I release my bias. It's not, oh, I'm expecting her to be on top of it. I'm releasing my bias. I'm here on this journey with her, and I'm kind of seeing things from her lens. So, how would she want me to react? She doesn't want me to be all hyped up and in her business and hovering over her. Um, she would want me to be relaxed. Let's make it easy.
So one last thing, Christina, and you could pick it up from there. So with that being said, do you recommend like therapy or some kind of spiritual counselor? Like, what do you suggest for other people in your position?
Oh, you're talking about me?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
oh.
I just posed. I said,
I would. I mean, if you are already an anxious person, I'd say therapy. I'd say like some like breathing exercises or just yoga, things like that. That's definitely already helped me before I met Christina, release some of my anxiety. Um, I'd say just practicing patience, practicing lengthening that time where you have to act versus when you feel something, just putting some space in between your actions. I definitely would suggest, if you have any, issues or things that you kind of want to hash out, maybe things that pop up, maybe you are already, short-tempered, something like that. Therapy, of course, because you can hash out those things on your own and not bring them to this relationship.
Yep.
Yeah, that you don't want to bringing, everybody has their own baggage, things like that, but you don't want to be bringing your anxieties to it if you haven't really dealt with it or you haven't had the tools to deal with that yet. So, yeah, I would say so. Therapy is great. Yoga is great. Breathing exercises, nature, activities, all of these things just to kind of put into that space of action when you're feeling so anxious.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We had some more questions. Dia, of course, for the audience. You look lovely, by the way,
You
sweetie.
too, baby. You too.
Thank you. Greg, you are so handsome. Okay. What can you tell? And by the way, there's Zena, my service dog with me, providing service.
Not for you. Not for you. For me.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
What could you tell the audience are some important things as a stroke survivor medically that we should take into consideration to speak about with a potential partner?
Okay.
That's a good one. I know coming in just when we were fresh on the relationship, of course, I wasn't going to be your immediate emergency contact. I wanted to know who your emergency contacts were. Who are the people that I should call in case something happens? At first, not necessarily the doctors per se, but your friends, somebody who's close to you, who would know what to do if I needed some assistance. So that was definitely helpful. Me asking who your emergency contacts were, and I put their numbers in my phone before I even met them, just in case. These are people that you've already trusted, people that you know longer than me. So I definitely put two of your friends, people that have known you, people who are in our city, in my phone, just in case. That was important for me. Um, Another one, I know upon taking you to your doctor's appointment, where is this place? I want to know where it's at. Who was your doctor? If anything were to happen, where would I go? Where's the place that you want me to go? Where would I want to drive you? Things like
Where would
that.
you take me if something happened to me?
To UF, the one downtown, Shane's, the hospital called Shane.
All right.
Shands?
There we go. Yep.
Shands.
That's the test.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
set.
Okay.
It's called UF Shands, right?
Don't take me anywhere else. Take me to my doctor.
Exactly, exactly. That was something that, definitely in particular to you. You don't want to be just taken to urgent care or the one that's closest. You want to go to your doctor. So that's important. Definitely.
I will jump in. It's not just, and I say this to the audience, it's not just that I have a particular doctor. I feel that I know, Greg, your story and your journey is a little bit different than mine. I still reside in the same state where my life was saved by my neurosurgeon.
Mhm.
And I live about 20 minutes away from the emergency room, the emergency department where my life was saved, not once, but twice.
Right.
All those things I felt I were necessary to share with this person that I possibly would get involved with because they know my medical history.
Yep.
I'm now dealing with somebody, I'm spending so much time with somebody if something happens, although she may have an emergency contact, but you're going to want that person you're spending time with to know, hey, you can't just throw me in an MRI machine. I have a shunt.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a coiling. All those things played a factor. Greg, now I know you were out of town when that happened to you. Do you have emergency contacts? Like, do you have a particular person that you're around? I know that you are now amongst your mother, but do you have other people surrounding you that have that type of information that could make
Um,
decisions on your behalf?
yeah, I have to set that up actually, because I'm like a nomad. I go to different places. I go to different countries.
Mhm.
But you just threw me off because I don't have my wallet on me. I have a card that actually says who I am and what do I need assistance with.
Mhm.
And I keep that in my wallet whenever I go out. So if I do get incapacitated, that they have the information about me. But you're saying something very interesting, Christina, and I like where you're going with this. You know, we are dating someone, and a red flag for me when I'm dating someone, I have to tell you everything about me. And if you're not taking interest in that, I don't want to deal with you anymore. I don't try to explain, hey, I need this. I need to go to this hospital. I need to go to this doctor. This is what it is. If you don't understand that, then why do I have you in my life? So maybe it was a litmus test for you, and she passed it. I just know for me, I had a lot of people that have not passed that test, and it make me automatically not want to deal with them.
Mhm.
I find it attractive when a person wants to take care of me and listen to my directives as my when I'm incapacitated. You know, what did it do for you, Christina, when Dee was so hands-on-ish with your medical history and also doing your wishes, doing your bids when it comes to medical assistance?
Um, I felt exposed, honestly. I felt very exposed because, prior to dating her and the type of people that I was dating were in relation to the type of people I would have dated prior to my stroke.
Right.
And I could not believe that I had this person who, I've only known a couple months is sitting next to me at my neurosurgeon's filling out my paperwork, which I had her do so she could kind of determine, of course, with me guiding her,
Yeah.
just to kind of see how she was. And I felt very exposed. I felt that, I think for me, honestly, that's probably one of the points where I felt like I would like to really be serious with her. The fact that she was engaging in that aspect of my life, um, I hadn't had anyone so hands-on and wanting and willing, again, like she mentioned about looking things up. I felt exposed. You're going to feel exposed. Stroke survivors, these things we kind of feel are personal, even if you are open with the person. But when she's sitting there asking me about my family history and my history, one of the questions was, I recall, in the last 7 days, have you felt as though you wanted to end your life or something like that? Have you felt sad? Um, and I put no, but then there was another question. It was like, oh, within the past 10 days, have you had any depressive episodes? And I said, yes. And I was filling it out. That part I took. I will say that I took that part because I wanted to fill that out. I didn't want her to ask me that. You're here in my appointment. You're already getting all this info. I knew I was coming. Give it back to me so I could fill it out. Like, you don't need that much info, because it was very exposing to me, but I was answering it honestly. We go through depressive stages. We go through doubt. And it wasn't until I think 2 or 3 days later that we were randomly talking, and she was like, hey, I noticed the other day when we were at your doctor's appointment that you answered yes to whether or not you felt depressed more than 2 or 3 times within. Do you want to talk about that? And like, I just remember I started crying.
Right.
And I'm like, first of all, you're a creep.
Wow.
Why are you creeping? Again, I went right for that, that
Your
slight
insecurity kicked in.
I was like, all right, that's too much. You're being, but then you take a step back and you're like, wow,
Right.
you really want to, like, you're really tuned in. And I think something, again, for the audience, as far as a companion, you have to look for somebody that is equally giving what you give. I, prior to meeting her, was consistently giving, knowing you don't have anything to give. Greg, you always mention how you've been the provider previously, you did a lot with, people from Jamaica, like, you give, and even now you still give.
Right.
But you have to make sure there's a balance when you're giving, that you get as well. And that's what I feel is important when looking for a companion, especially as a stroke survivor. Yes, you're already giving them all this info and all this. What are they giving back to you?
Right.
And finding that balance. So wrapping back around, because we know how Christina is. I'll answer 13 questions and ask 5.
You do.
Go back to your question. How did I feel? I felt exposed, but I also felt seen. I felt like somebody without prompt was doing it because they wanted to, not because they needed to. And that makes a huge difference.
I got that.
Huge difference.
I really get that. And this conversation is getting very, very deep and personal to me. And I really appreciate Dee coming on and speaking, because it's opening up a lot that I haven't really looked into from the other side. And I really appreciate you saying everything that you have said, Dee. Something that has really come to my mind right now, something that you was talking about, Christina, and I'm trying to remember what it was, because I can't remember, because you talk so long. I can't remember what you said.
I have the gift of jab. I am blessed. I'm still able to utilize my words. I am just gonna ha ha ha. You lucky I can't sing. Although anybody needs me for a track, I could. Yeah, I'm ready. I know. You got to get me, Greg. We got to think of
I'm trying to. I need to start writing, like you said, I need to start writing it down as soon as it comes in my head.
Where's your notepad?
Where's your notepad?
And I have my pad here too, but it's crazy.
And it's closed. I need you to be open.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But what I'm hearing is that, we have these insecurities. We don't want to be completely open to people. And then this person is coming into our lives and they want you to be completely open. And like we was talking about before, the independence. And that's the hard thing to actually figure out. But I have something, and I don't know, Christina, if you agree with me or not, but I'm going to put this towards D. I know for me, the word "I'm in love with you" basically means that I trust you, I respect you, and I honor you. Not necessarily all mushy infatuation stuff. When I look into relationships, because you was talking about that, like, it has to be equal power, Christina. I'm not really looking for equal power. I am looking for, when I date someone, that I'm dating for a purpose. I'm not dating for love. When I was dating, and when I was 19 years old, I thought I was in love, but that same love is not the same love that I have now as I'm 40 something years old. So I know that doesn't work. But if I have dated a person for a purpose, okay, this is what we're going to establish, this is what we're going to do, then I know that each and every time that goal is achieved, the next phase is coming on. I think this is more prevalent to me now as a stroke survivor, because I need someone in my life to understand this is what I need to do to survive. This is what I want to do as a person. I want to make sure that you achieve your goals. So I don't know, if Christina, if you feel this way or not, but D, I know that when you did date other people, it might have been slightly different, but with Christina, or a stroke survivor, it's very acute of what they need each and every day. And that's what they focus it on to become whoever they need to be. How do you actually adapt to that? Instead of this person that's want to just, be, laissez-faire in life instead of, or a person that really has focus and say, okay, I need to get my medication in. I need to make sure my shun is right. I need to do all this other stuff because this is what I need to do to live. How
Yeah.
do you wrap your head around that and be with a person that has that type of mind state?
Yeah. I think first, I show up. I show up as my true self. I think my maturity with myself, knowing who I am, has definitely helped. I'd say, like, beforehand in previous relationships, maybe you're casual, you're getting to know each other. This may go one way, this may not. You may fall back into some bad habits. You may not consider that person just because it's a casual dating situation. But in this relationship, definitely I took on, I need to have myself together so I can pour into her and so she can feel free to pour into me as well.
Mhm.
Knowing who I am, knowing my true intentions, just showing up as myself. I think that was very important. Um, just being able to make sure that my cup is full so that I can be there for her fully. Um, Not neglecting myself or anything like that, but definitely making sure that I have what I need on my end so I can be there for her.
I really
So I
like that.
have enough space to do that.
I really like that because a lot of times people that are dating us or caregivers neglect themselves,
Mm,
and then they try to help us, and they could be causing a heart attack or stress that have them have a stroke themselves. We don't want that. So
right.
yeah, having your cup full, I really dig that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. I don't want to feel stressed. And then she's not able to give in to me. I'm not able to even hear her because I'm going through my own stressful situation. I want to make sure, I mean, also, I make sure that we pour into each other. When I'm going through something, I feel free to tell her what's up, just so I can get that off my chest as well. And then we can just communicate that and make sure that we're pouring into each other, keeping each other full. It's important.
One last question I have for you, and Christina, you could do whatever you need to do after that. Um, Dealing with a stroke survivor, uh, we are very temperamental, moody, and it changes a lot. In the next 5 minutes, we could love you, hug you, and next 5 minutes we want to beat you up. Really, how do you suggest a person to handle that? Because we don't know what our world is going through, and like you were saying, you have to be ready to pour into her.
Hmm.
But there could be times that we can't pour into you for 2 or 3 weeks because
Mhm.
we're in a bad place. How do you handle that? What do you suggest for people to do?
Just patience. Don't take it personal. They're not lashing out at you or withholding their love from you. They're going through something that's how they're taking care of it. I try to step into her lens. How is she viewing the situation? Maybe she's just, she's had it right now, and that's fine. I don't want to put myself into it and make it worse. Just take a step back. I'm just going to go off of your cues.
Right.
It's not the stress level, any of the drama, anything like that. That's just really doing too much. If you want to have a break, I see that. I'm not going to take it personal. Oh my gosh, did I do something to upset her? What did I do? And why are you doing this? That's too much. Why would I even bring that stress to the situation in the first place? The patience, the space that you put in between there, that really matters because you're able to just take a deep breath and we will circle back around and get to that loving moment. If you want to add more stress to it, it's going to take even longer. And for what? I
I
just want to
just
put
have one
myself
last
into her
thing. I just
shoes.
have one last thing, D, and
Yeah.
I'm done, officially done, Christina.
Yeah, you just got mucho más.
I can't help it. It's like these bring a lot of questions out for me. I love it.
I'm
That's
enjoying
good.
it.
What this is about, and I really hope that this is bringing some light
Me
into
too.
people.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Go
Would
ahead,
you
Greg.
agree with this statement, D?
Mhm.
As a person that's dealing with a stroke survivor, you have to be part-time nurse, part-time lover, and don't get confused with the two.
Okay. Part time nurse, part time lover. Let me see.
Oh, let me clarify a little bit further because it seems like you're in deep thought with that.
Yeah.
Um, Say for instance, like we were just talking about, I'm depressed and I don't want to talk. I don't want to. I'm annoying you. I'm agitated with you. I'm getting on your nerves. You
Hmm.
know, as a nurse, you know that I still have to take care of this person. This
Hmm.
person needs have to be met,
Hmm.
and I have to separate myself as this person's lover,
Yeah,
but have to be their nurse.
definitely.
So that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking you. Do you have to
I
be a
get you.
part-time nurse and also a part-time lover?
I'm gonna say they're both full time.
Okay.
They're both full time, definitely. I feel like if I'm going to be, part time lover or even full time lover, I I might just fall into the emotions of it. Maybe you don't want to wake up and take your medicine, and I don't want to bother you, but that I'm going to have to come in and make sure that you take your medicine. I make sure that you wake up so you can take it. That's going to be the nurse coming through because I love you. I mean, it's going hand in hand. Just because you are a stroke survivor and you have to take medicines, and you need to go to doctor's appointments and things like that, doesn't take away from the emotion, from the love that I have for you. I want you to succeed. You are my spiritual partner. So I'm going to come through in any way that I can. Full time nurse, full time lover at all times.
Christina, don't start crying on me, man. God, I
Huh?
know you listen to this stuff. Don't start crying, okay? Get emotional on me, man. Don't do that.
I love this, and I
I
love
love
this
it too.
not only for me, but I for the audience, and for it to be very, very fluid and transparent. And I say that
Yeah.
I feel like one thing that's kind of missing, or that we haven't touched upon, is being being free with each other. I am so goofy. I make jokes all the time. I do it with you, Greg. Yes, absolutely take being in this relationship, correctly, with a stroke survivor. There are times, however, as I am the stroke survivor, she's my care, where I have to sit her down and be like, calm down. You're doing too much. Why are you going to get yourself worked up? Look at it this way, break it down this way. This is
Definitely.
da. Now, I can honestly say that absolutely plays a part of what I've been through during this stroke recovery journey, because I was very much like D. D's and Aries like me. We are fire, you know? Um,
Rams.
we are Rams, but being able to bring that balance and really having fun and trying to enjoy life. I don't want just a lover. I need a nurse. I need someone to remind me. There's times where, we may have gotten into an argument and she still texts me. She doesn't put a heart, but she'll still text me and be like, medicine, baby. you know,
Yeah, I
Right.
get it. I get it.
knowing that I'm gonna have bad days. But Greg, for you, I really don't want you to be jaded. And I say this because I'm sure there's people that may come across this video, and I would hope that maybe feel the same way about you. I'm not going to be cliche and say there's always somebody out there, so many fish in their sea. There isn't, but keep a little bit of yourself open, a
Mm.
little bit of that light.
No, I have changed. I have changed. This when I say I was jaded, I'm not that
Hmm.
way anymore.
Okay, no, you said I'm jaded.
I said
You
I
didn't say
was
the word.
jaded. Looking back at the
We'll
tape,
run it
We'll
back.
roll it back.
roll it back,
I'm
roll it
rolling
back.
it back. I'm rolling it back. So, with that being said, I want to, of course, they're going to wrap this up. Dee, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
On behalf of You're Too Young to Have a Stroke, for coming and being transparent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for not just speaking about how beautiful and wonderful I am, but really bringing some light into
Yeah,
things.
that was hard. That was
Greg,
hard.
sweet Greg. We have next week, Greg, I'll let you introduce our show's topic, which I think is going to be
I
amazing.
don't think we ironed out the topic yet, but I'm gonna have my daughter come on and speak on how it is being a child of a parent that had a stroke and how their childhood has been affected by that. So I'm very interested in seeing what she has to say about this.
Wow.
I don't know if she's going to shock me or she's going to actually make me cry, but I think it's very important that we discuss this because there's a lot of children that have young parents that have strokes, and now they have to take care of their mother and father when they thought that their mother and father were superheroes. So this is pretty interesting for me.
Yeah.
Great. Dee, do you have any closing remarks for the audience who may be interested in a stroke survivor?
Yeah. I just want to say, everyone, keep an open mind. Really be true to yourself. Really release any bias that you really have and just go along with the journey. Life is a journey, and this could be a very beautiful journey for you to partake on. So just be yourselves.
Love that.
Happy Pride.
Thank you, Dee. With that being said, we want to
Happy
thank the
Pride.
audience again. Oh, wait, there's a little bit of a lag. I started talking. See, you were getting too deep, Dee. It started, it said the universe was like, it's too much. It's too deep. Is she frozen?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was that pride comment.
and Greg's gone too.
I'm
Well,
not
it
going,
says
Christina.
that
I'm just
everyone
saying.
can see me. I don't know what's going on with the screen, but if you still can see me, I want to make sure everyone
So what right now, Christina, we have our closing.
goes and
thing on the
follows,
screen.
likes our You're Too Young to Have a Stroke. There's our YouTube, Instagram. We what?
Nothing, sister. No, if you want to follow
yeah.
us, like us, turn on your notifications. Here we are on YouTube, Instagram, and also Facebook. Make sure that you follow, like us, and do all the great stuff to make us more popular. We thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
And you guys have a great night. Dee, thank you for coming on. Christina, you are a jewel as usual. I love you guys, and you guys all have a great and prosperous weekend when it comes up. And hopefully, if you do come into this area of New York or anywhere, I think it's all the way to the Carolinas, be careful with this smoke. It is dangerous. You could still smell it. It's come from come from Canada, and I can smell it. That's 6 hours away. I can smell the smoke, see the smoke. I had sinus issues all day, so please be careful out there, everybody. Love you guys. Have a good night. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.